Hi everyone, and welcome back to week 13 of the 2013 NFL season. Last week I went 3-0-1 against the spread, and the good news is that I've only had one wrong pick against the spread in the last 2 weeks, and that was by 2 points. Now, I've missed a few games this year, but the vast majority have been really close by a point or two. And if you've been using my picks as teaser plays like I have, you've been taking the man's money. And that's what we're going to do with this week's picks. Here they are. The first game we're going to look at has Jacksonville going to Carolina, where the Browns are 7-point favorites at home. Last week in my video I said that the Jaguars are a much better road team, and as a matter of fact, they've won 2 of their last 3 games. Both of them were on the road. All 3 of their covers this year have been on the road, and last year 5 of their 7 covers were on the road. Carolina starts Brandon Weeden at quarterback. Oh my, I don't know why the number is so high in a game that Jacksonville might win outright. So let's take the points. Let's take Jacksonville +7. The second game we're going to look at has Tampa Bay going to Carolina, where the spread is 7.5. What's the spread? Let me just look up here. Oh yes, Carolina is favored by 8 at home. The Bucs have been on a nice little roll themselves. They've won 3 straight. The thing is, 2 of them were at home, and then last week they beat Detroit on the strength of 5 turnovers. I think they only had 10 first downs all game and 22 yards rushing. Carolina is not a team that's going to give up the ball a lot. As a matter of fact, they're +10 in turnovers. You know, if they win this game, they're going to be tied with New Orleans for first place in the NFC South. The Panthers are the hottest team in the NFL right now. They've won 7 straight, including last week a tough come from behind win against Miami. The week before that, they beat New England after the Patriots had come off their bye. That was pretty impressive. And they went into San Francisco and won there. The games before that, they were putting up 30-plus points. I think they're going to do the same thing here. I think Carolina scores at least 35 points here and keeps Tampa Bay under 20. So let's lay the points and take Carolina -8. The third game we're going to look at has Arizona going to Philadelphia. The Eagles are -3 at home. These 2 teams are on a bit of a roll, and they're both playing well offensively and defensively. The thing is, Arizona's beaten better opponents than Philadelphia. The Eagles have if you look at who they've beaten recently, a bunch of bums actually. Meanwhile, Arizona, they were the last team to beat Carolina, believe it or not, 7 weeks ago. They are in the hunt for the wild card, and I think they have a lot to prove here, a lot to play for. They might even win this game. 3 points is a good safe number. I think the worst you'll get here is a push. So let's take the points, take Arizona +3. And the fourth game we're going to look at has New Orleans going to Seattle on the Monday nighter, and this is going to be a great game. Unfortunately for the Saints, or rather for the Seahawks, 2 of their cornerbacks are gone. Thurman and Browner have been suspended. What a bad time to be suspended when you've got Drew Brees coming into your stadium. I mentioned that Carolina is going to be playing Tampa Bay. I think they're going to win that game. New Orleans is going to be very hard-pressed to, put it this way, they're going to want to win this game, just like Seattle. This is going to be for the NFC top seed here. 5 points is just too much, especially with those 2 guys out of the picture. So let's take the points and take New Orleans +5. Here are my over-under plays for this week. I didn't do very well last week. I have to remember to stop taking teams like Detroit over-under. I can't seem to get them right. And I also took the San Diego game. I never get San Diego right, whether it's over-under, straight up, or against the spread. So I apologize for that. I was sure to pick games that didn't have all the voodoo, and we're going to do a lot better. The first game we're going to look at has Chicago going to Minnesota to take on my Vikings. That number is 49. These 2 defenses are absolutely terrible, As a matter of fact, Chicago's run defense is the worst in the league, and Minnesota has Adrian Peterson. Chicago's 8-3 over, and Minnesota's 10-1 over. I think there'll be a lot of points scored here. So let's take over 49. The second game we're going to look at has Tennessee going to Indianapolis. That number's 44.5. Both of these teams are on a nice little overrun. They've each gone over 5 straight in the last games that they've played. Since the bye, Tennessee's offense has really rounded into shape. And since their bye, I don't know where Indianapolis's defense has gone. They played a couple of weeks ago. There was 57 points scored in that game, I believe. And last year in Tennessee, I think they scored 50 points here. I think this will go over, so that's what we'll do. We'll take over to 44 and a half. The third game we're going to look at has Jacksonville at Cleveland, a game I talked about earlier. That number's 40.5. Wow, these are the two of the worst offenses in the league. Jacksonville is ranked 32nd, dead last, and Cleveland's not far behind. They obviously can't score points. Add in Whedon as the quarterback for Cleveland, and that will even hamper any other offense that they can have in this absolute yawner of a game. So let's take under 40.5. And the fourth game we're going to look at has the New York Giants going to Washington. That number's 46. Let's face it, the Giants' offense has been underwhelming all year, and RG3, I think, is regressing weekly. These two teams played to a very low-scoring game late in the year last year. I believe it was 17-16. Not very many points being scored in the cold on that turf at FedEx Field in Washington. So let's take under the 46. I'm going to stand to the side here, and we'll let my straight-up picks scroll right beside me. There's a couple of early games this week for the Thanksgiving week. I like Detroit over Green Bay, who still will be without Aaron Rodgers. Dallas should easily take care of the Oakland Raiders. The Baltimore-Pittsburgh games should be close. Let's go with Baltimore since they're at home. A game I talked about earlier, I'll take Indianapolis over Tennessee, who I don't think will win back-to-back on the road. My first upset of the week is Jacksonville over Cleveland. I picked Jacksonville to win last week, and they did. Don't believe me? Jacksonville is at Houston. I like the upset here. Let's go with Jacksonville to beat Houston and give them their 9th straight loss. I told you. I will also take Carolina over Tampa Bay. The game I talked about earlier, I think the Panthers stopped the Bucs' 3-game winning streak. I like my Minnesota Vikings over Chicago. Upset number 2, we'll go with Arizona over Philadelphia, as the Cardinals have played better teams than Philadelphia. I think they'll win here. Another upset has the Miami Dolphins over the New York Jets. You know that the Dolphins have beaten New York 7 of the last 9 times, including 5 straight in New York. You know how I know that? I went to my website, geoknows.com, and I found it out. The next game has Buffalo going to Toronto for their annual trek up north. They'll be facing the pretty hapless Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, I like Buffalo here. San Francisco should easily take care of St. Louis. New England will romp over Houston. A bit of an upset has the Cincinnati Bengals over San Diego. I hope I don't jinx the Bengals here, because I never get the Chargers right. Washington will beat the Giants, as I don't think Washington will lose back-to-back at home. And my last pick of the week is another upset, as I think that the New Orleans Saints will go into Seattle and end the Seahawks' 15-game home winning streak with a big win in Seattle. Okay, so those are my picks for this week. Good luck to you. Don't forget to check out my website, geoknows.com. Follow me on Twitter at geoknows, and make sure you cast your vote for your favorite videos for the upcoming Geo Knows Awards. Okay, for the Geo Knows YouTube channel, I am Geo. Happy Thanksgiving, America. And let's take the man's money.